everybody, Matt Weaver here, and thank you so much for listening. So over the past week or so, I was asked 2 times, Matt, why are you so passionate about multiple offers, about competing and winning and so on? And I think we can agree that, of course, in today's market, we are in a heavy multiple offer environment. So it was a really good question, and for me to really answer that, I figured I would just share a story about my own personal multiple offer scenario where we ended up competing and, of course, winning. You know, I have to tell you that unlike commercial real estate, residential real estate, I think we can agree, is a very emotional transaction. What happens is that people look at the home and they decide on the home with their emotions, whether it be the right school system, whether it be the right bedroom count for their family and their kids. So many different elements, and it really is an emotional experience. Whereas commercial, you look at the numbers, what's the rents, does it make sense? If it does, we'll buy. It's just a very analytical decision as opposed to that real raw emotion. And interestingly enough, I'll never forget my personal multiple offer environment and scenario that I was in that really drew out my emotion. It dates back to 2010. And we were in a very heavy multiple offer environment here in Palm Beach County. And my wife at that time was almost 9 months pregnant, okay? And we were expecting our first child. And we lived in a condo, and we actually sold the condo about 8 or 9 months in advance and did a lease back from that owner. So during my wife's pregnancy, we were out looking all the time, and the market was very, very difficult, very tricky, a lot of short sales, a lot of foreclosures. People didn't really know how to handle short sales. It was really new for us. But nonetheless, it took months and months and months of searching and searching until about, close to my wife's 9-month pregnancy, we found the one, the home. And it would come up on the market, but then quickly go away. And it was just really bizarre. We couldn't really quite make sense of it. So we ended up getting in touch with the agent. And the agent said right away, Matt, there are so many showings today. We already have 6 or 7 offers on it. I'd like to be able to help you out, but I don't think it's going to be a home for you. Nonetheless, I asked her if I could just go look at it. And I went that Saturday and I looked at the home. And as I was looking at the home, this home has been vacant now for about 1.5 years. And I'm not the kind that can really see through things. Usually I want it to be, just in a certain order, and then I'll make a purchase. But for some reason, when I was looking at this house, even though it had its challenges, I was able to see past the challenges. And I'll never forget, I was at one corner of the house and I looked at a bedroom, and I could truly visualize my newborn son being in that room. And at that moment, it clicked. And I said, this is my house. This is the house that I need to buy. And I ended up calling the agent afterwards, and I spoke to them, and I said, I have to tell you that I have to purchase this house. And she said, Matt, well, we have many different offers, and plus there's 2 lenders that are involved. It's a short sale. And at that time, short sales, gosh, were taking 6 months, maybe even a year. It was just a mess. And I said to her, I'm going to make you an offer that I believe you, your seller, will accept. And I think it's going to be a time frame that is going to be just basically second to none and unheard of. She said, well, what is it? I said, I'd like to buy the house and close in 10 days. I'll have a 5-day inspection period. I'll have a 7-day loan approval. And then my deposit will go hard at that time. So we went back and forth. She wouldn't really believe the fact of closing in 10 days. And so what ended up happening is the second and third backup offers would click in effect, day 11. So I really had 10 days to close on this transaction, which would have been unheard of during those short sale, the new short sale days in 2010. Nonetheless, I was so blessed by her that she actually gave us the contract and awarded us the contract for the 10-day closing. So what I did was day 1, day 2, day 3, I literally called both first and second lender. I was so emotionally involved because this was the house for my family. I just knew it. And so interestingly enough, we got through inspections. There were these issues here and there, but I could see past it. And day 9 comes around, and I'm getting both first and second lenders to commit in writing that they'll release liability from the seller and close the following day, which was day 10. Nonetheless, Day 10 comes, I wake up, it was a Friday, I'll never forget it. I wake up at 5 in the morning. My wife, of course, is sleeping. I mean, she's due any day now. And at this point in time, I'm kind of tiptoeing out of the room, and she wakes up, and I said, "Is everything okay?" And she said, I'm having some pain here." And I said, "Oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me. We're going to close today. Our son's not due for another 8 or 9 or 10 days. Let's take you to the doctor." So that morning we rushed, of course, really quickly to the doctor, and the doctor said, "Well, it could be today, it could be tomorrow, we just don't know." So I raced her back home, and I knew I had to fund this transaction, and at that time the funding had to get in by 5 p.m. Otherwise, the backup offer would click in the following morning. So I rush over to my office, I draw up the lender docs, I rush back to the condo, my wife's there, and then she starts going into contractions. And I'll never forget, it's probably around 2 or 3 o'clock. She's signing in between her contractions, and she just is having pain. I'll never forget the face. It was a really, of course, trying time. She wanted the house as well. And as she's signing, we complete the signing. I race back to the office. I'm getting the funding ready, and it's almost 5 o'clock, and I get a call from my in-laws that we're on the way to the hospital. Funding happens at like 5:20 p.m. I dart over to the hospital, and that night, my son was born. I got my house, and I got my son all on the same day. It was a very emotional experience, but we won. And the truth of the matter is that that's why I'm so passionate. When your client, and we're working together, finds the home that's the one for them, this is it, and they visualize their children in that room, and their passions, nothing can stand in the way at that point. And I want to be with them and with you every step of the way. Thank you for lending me your ear and listening to this story. Together in success.